Okay, so tonight I want to talk about just some time-saving tips for the new year because selling on TpT and doing all the work with TpT can be overwhelming. I'm reminded of all this. I started an Etsy store this past year and it's not my TpT stuff. And so I'm kind of reminded what new sellers go through and all the overwhelm that you kind of feel and trying to get everything done. So let's see how we can help you get some things done this year. So we're going to help you get more done in the new year. So tip number one, organize your stuff. I cannot stress this enough. Everything just needs to be organized because you will save so much time if you know where it is. So first we have to decide on an organizational system. So I like to have a main TpT folder. It just says teachers pay teachers. And then I have all these subfolders in that main folder. So I have a folder for products. I have a folder for all my clip art. I have a folder for any blogging images and things for my blogs. And I have a folder for my expenses and data. I have a folder for social media things. And I have folders galore in my TpT folder. I like everything in its own folder. And especially like my products. I think I have. So here's like my teachers pay teachers folder. And these are all the subfolders that live within this. And it keeps everything organized. And having a system of like making sure you name things so you know what it is. So I'm not guessing what, if I just said images like this one, I'm still guessing what in the world that is. So there are still some here that could use some fine tuning, but we have to start someplace. And so start with, those main folders. I like to take things and I just shove it all in one folder and then I sort it out after I've created all of my folders that I can go through. This is what my products folder looks like. So every product line has their own folder. So all of my bingo games, they're all within that bingo folder. All of my color pages, they're in that folder. My math labs are all in a folder. My scavenger hunts are in a different folder. And then within it, every product has their own folder. And it's named exactly what it's named. I shouldn't say exactly what it's named on TpT because we want longer titles these days on TpT than what we did back in 2013 when I started. But it has what the product line is, like scavenger hunt, and it tells what the skill is because I do all math besides my seller resources. And so I basically have a product line and I have a math skill, and that's how everything is named. So finding a naming system will be very beneficial. Oh, I think I have one more. Okay, and then this is like this is only part of my clip art. This is the graphics of, well, a small part of the graphics. I kind of like clip art and I kind of tend to have a lot of it. Even though I don't really use it all, I have a lot. I keep everything in the folder that it is downloaded in because I do grades, generally grades 5 through 7 for my math resources. So I don't need to know where all the apples are and I don't need to know where all the flowers are. I'm really good about knowing that I purchased from a certain clip artist, and that's kind of how I like to look at things. And so I rename the folder. So their name is at the beginning. And this puts everything in order for me. So I know that Olive Rainbow sprinkles clip art, and I wish I did lower grade so I can use more of her clip art. I know that's all going to be together, and Olive Ron Leishman's clip art's going to be together, and all of Sarah Pecorino's is going to be together. And so not searching for all of that. And then it just, I'm on a Mac, And so I'm able to take their cover image and add it to the folder. I don't think you can do this on PC, or only certain versions of Windows can do that, but I don't know. I haven't used a PC in a long time. So, but on a Mac, you can actually change your folders to a lovely image. And so this helps me, especially with clip art, gives me a great idea of what's in that folder before I go looking and searching. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Oh, there we go. So, again, everything. And, the thing about organizing is it takes a long time to do if you don't have things organized. And it seems like maybe it's not worth the time to do it. But instead of wasting an hour looking for a certain product that you're working on, or instead of, need to find these blogging pictures or a certain piece of clip art. I know exactly where to find these things because they're all in their folders. Now, am I 100% organized with my things? Absolutely not. I was organizing my ClickUp today and it's a huge mess. So I take the time to do that, and it's so worth it because then I can find things later on. So I'm switching over from Trello for all of my ideas and notes and lists and things to ClickUp. I want to get everything off of Trello and onto ClickUp, and it's a lot of organization to get that done. So it does take time, but it is well worth it in the end. So you can take some time every time that you're on your computer. You don't have to sit down for hours at a time to organize. I set a timer, and I like to do this every day if I can. 15 minutes. I set the timer. I tell Siri to set the timer and for 15 minutes, and then I just organize what I can. My downloads folder, that gets to be a hot mess. I put things where it goes. And then I'll just move through all my folders and get them organized and keep them organized. It helps to create habits so that you automatically put things where they go. I'm still working on this habit because it just has not happened. But hey, I'm still working on it. So, I download things all the time, and then they just sit there in the download folder instead of taking it and putting it in the correct folder. And so, the first of every month, I download my product statistics and I download my sales report. And so I can work through all my data, and they will sit there in my download folder instead of moving over to the data folder that I have for them. And so that's why I like to spend just 15 minutes a day, and I can get things organized and kind of keep it a bit organized. And what I do on my computer, I also do in my Google Drives. So everything is set up the exact same way. Any folders that I need for social media or for blogging, or I don't generally keep products or clip art, but I have like courses and a variety of different things. And everything as a folder, and then it's subfolder, subfolder, subfolder. Okay. So take the time to organize. It'll save you so much time. I promise. All right. Tip number 2, have a plan. And I don't know, I'm a huge planner. When I went full-time in 2015, actually, I kind of got fired from my job, or I don't know. I didn't get hired for my job, I guess. I was a special ed resource teacher, and my district was picking up our contracts, and my school did not pick up my contract. And so they let me go, and then I resigned from my special ed co-op and went full-time TpT. It was not what I had planned at all. But I had to have a plan. I was like, I didn't know what to do. Here I am. I'm supposed to actually work all day long. But it's kind of like being a teacher and you have lesson plan. Well, have a plan for your work. And then you won't just be kind of, spur of the moment. Oh, well, I think I might work on this. Well, I don't know. I might work on that. And you're wasting all of this time thinking about what you really should work on, and then you're off to social media and scrolling through that. Um, because and it's such a waste of time if you don't know what you're going to work on. You can get so much done, even if you only have 15 minutes a night to work. Okay, 15, 30 minutes, whatever. That's okay. Say, write down one thing before that work time comes up and say, okay, next time I sit down to work, I'm going to work on these student pages for this product. Or when I sit down, I'm going to write this blog post, or I'm going to create these graphics for my social media post. Whatever it is that you want to work on, write it down. And then you'll be ready when the time comes for you to work. And remember that you don't have to do it all. We see so much in Facebook groups and in forums and people talking about, oh, well, I'm doing Pinterest. Oh, I'm doing an email list. I have a blog. I'm doing TikTok. I'm doing Instagram, whatever it is. And all these different people are talking, and you start thinking that you have to do all this. And then the overwhelm just starts building up. You don't have to do it all. We need to focus on what you are doing and what your priorities are, because my priorities are not going to be what you are doing, and your priorities are not going to be what someone else is doing. You have a certain amount of time that you can work on your store. You have certain things that you want to accomplish in that store. Those are your priorities. So I tell people, when we talk about how do we know what our priorities are, make a list of all the things you could do for your TpT store, no matter what it is, no matter whether you want to do it or not. Just make a list. And then you can go through the list, cross off the things that you don't want to do. So on my, if I put TikTok on my list, I'd be crossing that off, because that is not going to happen. I do a lot of live videos, but I don't know. I just no thank you to TikTok. And so there are a lot of things that I don't want to do, or there are some things that I hire out for. House cleaning. I decided this past year that I was tired of cleaning the house. I don't like house cleaning. And so I've hired a house cleaner. It's the best money I ever spent. So, that's my priority. I'd rather sit and work on my business than clean the house. That's me. Okay. But everyone is different. And so when you look at your priorities and you've marked out the things you don't want to do, what's left, you're going to have to put in order, because you don't have 24/7 to work on your store. Even if you do this full time, you don't have 24/7 to work on your store. So you've got to be realistic and kind of look at, okay, this is most important to me. This is number one. So even, I don't know, I have over 700 products in my store. I've been doing this for over 11 years. I still have product creation as my number one priority for my store. That and updates. Okay. So you have to make that decision. No one can make that for you. You have to decide, though, what it is most important, and that's what you're going to use. You're not going to go down the little path of wandering to some shiny object. You're going to focus on your priorities. If you do that, you're going to get things accomplished in your store, and you're going to increase your revenue. All right. And then you write down what you want to work on, make sure it's aligned with those priorities, and have all your materials ready to go. Don't be looking for, when it's work time, it's really not the time to be on TpT searching for the perfect clip art. Pick the clip art and go. Pick the font and go. We don't, and I'm terrible at this. I can sit and I can spend hours looking at fonts just to pick the right font. I don't know, but it's stupid because it's a waste of time. Nobody really cares. Pick something that's readable and go. Set a timer for yourself if you need to. If you're like me, set a timer for yourself and know what font you're going to use. Anything that you create for TpT can be updated and changed. It is never just on there forever and only in that format. It's weird to sell on Etsy, because on Etsy, you can update a product, but people who have purchased it don't get that. And so But on TpT they do. And so it's okay if you pick a font and then you decide in 6 months you don't like that font, fine, change it. But in order to get things done and get things posted in your store, pick, plan, and go. All right, tip number 3. Okay, I can get a lot done because I have templates. You look at my store, you see that all the covers look exactly the same. They have different colors, they have different text, they have a different image, whatever the product line is. But it's a template. The base is a template. Every single one of them look the same. It works for me. It works for my store. Now, some people just love making covers and they want to spend that time making the covers. Me, I want to get it on there and I want to move on to the next thing that I need to do with my business because I have a lot going on in my business. I run my TpT store. I work with sellers through my own membership. And like I said, I have this Etsy store now. So I have lots of things that I want to do and need to do. And so templates are golden for me. Covers, thumbnails, previews, descriptions. You can even do social media graphics, which is what I did when I was doing my social media graphics. I have hired that out now, so I don't have to do those. I use the same terms of use and credits page in every single product. The only thing I change are the credits for the artists that I've used and the in 2 of the 3 upsell products that I have linked in there. Everything else stays the same, and it's okay. It's okay with me. Every product line that I do, it has a certain set of templates, and it works. When I go to update, I create a new set of templates for that product line, and I get, and I update as my data tells me that it's time to update things. And that works. And it saves me so much time. I could go in and I can change a cover, thumbnails, previews all within less than an hour for a product. Or I can make them in just probably about 30 minutes these days. It just doesn't take that much time if you have templates. And again, stop fussing over clip art and fonts. It's a time waster, and we need to stop all these time wasters. Making product lines is a time saver because, like, I have bingo games. So I've made a bingo game. Now it's time to make another bingo game. I duplicate it. I changed all the text to a new skill and change out sometimes I change out clip art, sometimes I don't. Sometimes a product line has the same clip art for every single product in the product line. And sometimes it doesn't, it just depends. And I can, instead of 5 hours to make a product, I can cut that down to 2.5. Okay. And so it saves so much time. Plus, you don't have to think so hard to get a new product into your store. You can come up with all of these different themes or skills for that one product. And plus, having product lines in your store, buyer buys one and they like it, they come back to your store to see if you have anything else just like it. And so you get repeat customers that way, which is super nice. Also, make bundles. If you're looking to get some products in your store, if you're looking to make some extra money, have bundles. I know that I could go through and I could make a ton more bundles than what I have. But they don't take that long to make because you just need the cover, the thumbnails, the preview, because you do need preview for a bundle, even though you have individual previews, your bundle still needs one. And use the bundling tool, and it doesn't take any time at all to put together a bundle. Okay, think, oh, yep, here they are. Oops, let me go back. Okay, so like I said, all of my covers look the same. They look exactly like these, all of them. These are two different product lines. So in this product line, every single Don't Get Zapped game is going to look like this. These are the thumbnails um, for that product. They all look the same unless they have, excuse me, unless they've been updated to another version. All of my riddle sheets, they start out with these thumbnails. And then as my data tells me to update, then I will change them to the next version. But they all start out the same. And then there's a second version for the riddles sheets. So they don't take much time at all. These are previews of those same products. Now, these are a little older. These are like the very first version. So most of my products actually don't have this version now. I still have a few I'm trying to, I think I counted 12 more that need new previews that are not pages from the product. So trying to get those done. I've been working on them since 2019. There's a lot to do. But they all look the same. You can see every single one. We start with this version. And then when the data says it's time to update the preview, then we go to the next version. And then there's a version after that. Okay. It is just a way to save time. I don't have to think about what the preview, what the cover, what the thumbnails are going to look like. They're going to be whatever's next in the lineup. So I have like version 1, version 2, version 3, and I'm getting ready to make version 4 because I have some products that need updated according to my data. And so we'll be moving on to 4. I talked about you can use for social media. So these are some images when I was doing them. I just used the same image. When I was doing a seller tip, I just changed the little text and then I wrote my post. So they didn't take much time at all. You know, we think that everything has to take so much time, but we can reuse what we already have, use them as templates. And you might make some changes, but if you use the base, it will be a lot easier and save you a lot of time so that you can do more things, either with your store or in your life outside of your store. All right, tip number 4, use timers and checklists. So timers are my friend, as I've already mentioned. They really keep me focused. But add appointments into your calendar to work. So it's like a doctor's appointment or a hair appointment. You put it on your calendar and it's there. You might have a notification alert for that. Well, add in TpT work time. If you know that you're going to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 7:30, add that into your calendar so that you do that. And then we set alarms so that we remember, oh yeah, I need to get up. So I usually don't do things at 8 o'clock at night. And so I definitely needed to set an alarm for tonight. But I set those alarms for everything that I need to do during the day. That's, not just sitting at my computer. I can get lost. Just like I could get lost. We're watching through the Marvel series. So we were watching one of the Doctor Strange movies, and I could have just sat there and finished the movie and forgot all about this. But I set the alarm, so I know it's on my calendar. It's, I know I'm going to need to do this. It's important. So if working on your TpT store is important, then set those appointments with yourself. Set those alarms to help you remember if you struggle to do that. And timers help with focus. it's crazy. Like if I set the timer, then I generally am on whatever task that is. I'm not wandering off into social media. I'm not wandering around the house, playing with the cat, flipping over to, the news, whatever. I'm focused on what I'm working on. Also, to help you save time would be to create a checklist. And this can be for any system. Having systems in our business is really important. And a system, it's just the steps on how you do something so that you're doing it the same way every time and you don't forget a step. And when we get that out of our brain and into a checklist, we can just use the checklist. It's right there. We don't have to think about it. And so it frees our brain up to be more creative and to be more focused on what we're actually doing, because it doesn't have to spend the time thinking, oh, what comes next? What comes next? And so if you're new to creating products, you might want a product creation checklist. And uploading to TpT checklist. Maybe you want a checklist for uploading to TpT, but then all of the marketing that goes afterwards. Oh, you've got to write an email, or you need to write a blog post. You need to put it on social media, send a note to followers, whatever your process is. Any of the systems that you can get into a checklist can be super helpful. I have a checklist for updates. Now, I pretty much know what I'm going to do to update a product. However, I want to make sure that when I'm updating the product and I'm updating an entire product line, that I do the same thing to everyone. So I know what fonts I'm using. I know what clip art I'm using. I know what colors I'm using. So I make sure I have all of those. And it's like part of my checklist. And then if it's something that, so I have two product creators that help me out, and we have a checklist, and they do part, they send it off to me, I do part, and then I send it off to the other one, and she finishes up. And so we have that checklist, and everyone's steps get accomplished. Now, the problem comes when I don't use the checklist and there and the person behind me in the checklist is confused because I didn't bother to use the checklist and send her part of the checklist. So make sure that when you do this, that you actually do use it. I love a good checklist. Keeps me organized, keeps me focused, and it frees my brain up to be doing other things because always so much going on. Okay, this is like my magic. When you just can't, you're just like, I got to get this done. This is for you, Power Hour. 30 to 60 minutes of uninterrupted, focused time. Seriously, uninterrupted. So this is like, you know exactly what you're going to work on. It's written down. You turn off all distractions. It may mean that your phone is in the other room. This is, and I know my kids are out of the house. They are turning 28 next month. So, and when I started, they were in high school, so I didn't have littles. And I get that if you have littles, you can't exactly say this is no kids during this time. Okay, they need attended to. That's fine. But if you can, if your kids are old enough, then teach them that, okay, this is your time to do this. This is my time to do this. Okay. And no distractions, unless it's an emergency, of course. And then you set the timer and you work and you stay focused. And when you do this, you really can get into a state of what they call state of flow. And you're just cranking out as much work as you can during that time. I find it very beneficial. I've used Power Hours. I learned about that in 2015 when I was trying to figure out how to work full time from home. I didn't know how to work from home. And I learned about these and I've used them ever since. They are wonderful. So if you've never tried a Power Hour, I highly recommend it. They are great. The hardest part is the uninterrupted time and the no distractions. That's generally the hardest part for people. But you can do it. All right. Very big about taking action because we can learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. And if we never do anything with that knowledge, then we just have a head full of knowledge. So take action. So we have our time-saving tips of organizing our stuff, having a plan every time we're before we work, using product shortcuts, using timers and checklists, and using power hours. Choose a couple of the tips that you want to use and start adding them into your routine. And these tips will help you save time and get more things done. And then it can also help alleviate some of that overwhelm that many sellers feel. So thank you. Thanks, Chris, for allowing me to come in tonight. I appreciate it. I do run the Facebook group, Teacher Seller Strategies, and I do have a coaching and learning membership called the Teacher Seller Academy, which is what the QR code there is for, or teacherselleracademy.com. I coach a lot of sellers from those who haven't started to those who have been selling as long as I have. So we have a variety of things that we do in there.